Boom! Welcome to the first episode of the Kayako podcast. With me today is Real Mikey Dude,
One and only.
aka Michael Tria. Michael is a gamer, YouTuber, content creator, and a Twitch ambassador with over 536,000 subscribers on YouTube. Um, he's not just that; he's freaking handsome.
Him.
Come on, he's him.
I'm just trying to be like you. Look at his
He plays
flow.
volleyball. He sings.
A little bit.
Come on, man! Like this man
Don't
does
gas me up,
everything. But that pretty much covers it all, bro.
Podcast done. Podcast done. Nah.
So, would you, aside from that incredible introduction that I
Right,
gave
of
you,
course.
would you add anything else to that?
Man, he forgot the most important one. I'm Carlos' friend. What's up?
Bro.
What's up?
More than a friend, man. This
Right,
dude
brother.
right here is a brother.
I can't, man.
You're right. We calibrated the right.
Don't even ask about it. Just a comment. It made sense.
Made sense in our heads. Pretty much, I kind of just want to talk about how we first met. How this relationship went about, and then we'll kind of go into
Bounce it off.
everything else.
Right.
So, I mean, Michael and I, we first met. I was in the 5th grade. He was in the 6th grade.
Right.
We met because his brother and my brother were in the same choir, and we met at a concert.
I still
Right?
remember
You
that.
remember
Dude, I
that,
remember
bro?
that, bro.
We met at a concert. Of course, we were both there to support our brothers, and we were waiting outside the lobby for our brothers to come out. And like, I just seen him from the corner, like, I got you first before you got me, bro.
It was perfect. Yeah, let's go do it. I'm dead. Oh no. I'm gonna have ads by the end of this episode, bro.
Oh yeah. So I seen him at the corner.
And corner. Hey, yo, chill. Relax. It wasn't a corner.
You're right. I just seen him, and at the corner of my eyes when I'm trying to say it, the corner of my eye. And yeah, I was just like, yo, this guy seems cool as hell, but I'm shy. I'm kind of shy.
Right.
And then
from my perspective, so I was there with my little brother, and we were like horsing around, boys being boys. And I remember seeing Carlo with his 2 other cousins, and they were girls. But I remember I was like, man, that guy looks so fun to play with. Like, yo, pause, rewind. yo, we're little kids at this point. Like, I want to play wrestle this guy. Like, who is this guy pulling up to my family, getting close to my mom like that? No, it wasn't like that. But he seemed like a chill guy, but it was very awkward. Like, we were both waiting to initiate the conversation and like, hey, like, do you like blank? Or like, we both wanted to do it so bad, but it was just not the time. It wasn't the moment yet.
Right. And then what happened? That like you guys came over.
Right.
Right.
So your mom invited our family over, and this is when I was like, all right, man, come on. Like, we're already here. I'm at your house. And I remember you used to have you got like this toy wooden gun from Springfield. It was like a musket. Yeah. And you were pretending to shoot your cousins, and they were girls, and they were running away, of course. I was like, man, I'm trying to shoot that too. Hold on, wait a minute. It looks fun. And then that's when we first like introduced each other.
I remember that night because I had been practicing like my kung fu stuff. Like I hadn't been like training in anything, but I just seen stuff in movies, like Bruce Lee movies, and I wanted to try something. You remember that weapon that I had?
Which one?
It was like 2 socks.
Oh, the tennis ball.
With tennis balls.
Nunchuck.
And you tie them together, bro, and you can do crazy tricks.
Yeah, he was nunchucking me in the face with it, man.
Yeah, I remember. I was like, okay, I gotta come out with a bang. Like these guys gotta, think I'm cool as fuck.
Right.
I was
Honestly,
like, wow.
He was going around with it crazy.
Since then, I mean, it just grew. The relationship just grew. Like we said, we're brothers, bro. We're brothers.
We've honestly been friends for like over 10 years. Easy.
Yeah.
Easily.
You're probably like the oldest
friend.
Yeah.
Type vibes.
Yeah, dude.
Like that. People.
Well, that I'm still like
cool with.
Right. I mean, there's still some around and stuff, but
yeah.
You know?
The cool part about the friendship I have with Carlo, I think, is that over these years, like we've never had like a really big beef. Like we've always been on kind of like the same mindset. Like we've had other friends that are like saying stuff to us, and then I'll kind of look at him like, "Yo, bro, like does this guy sound crazy to you?" And like we just agree on a lot of stuff, and he's just always been there. He's always been down too. That's what it is too.
Always. Right back at you, bro.
Love.
And the purpose of this podcast, right, is to highlight people who live what I call the Kayako energy.
Right.
Do you know what Kayako means?
Bro, we're Filipino. Kayako.
Yeah, educate the.
So if you guys don't know what Tagalog is, Filipinos speak Tagalog, and Kayako basically means just like I can, like we can, or I basically, right?
Yeah,
I can. I can.
So, what the Kayako energy is an energy that is reserved for people who have aspirations that are not of the norm.
Right.
For the average population, but specifically the Filipino American population.
Right.
So it's an energy that makes you feel like you can do anything you put your mind to. And I'm sure, yeah, exactly, like that feeling of, oh, I can do this.
Right.
I got this, right? And that's kind of like what we want to capture in this podcast and in this brand, is people who live that way and know that the feeling of having that energy with them. So like for you, bro, I mean, first, do you get that feeling? Do you know what I'm trying to explain?
Like you got to get something out of it. There's there's always more potential than what you can even imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, especially within the Filipino community, especially in America, bro, like, of course, our ancestors, or for us, our parents literally came to America to give us a better life. So you kind of think about the sacrifices they had to make, but then also the understanding of them not fully understanding what we are growing up as Filipino Americans.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because they grew up with a very like harsh value on family, religion. Yeah. There's a lot of like basic ideals, I feel like, that a traditional Filipino person looks for.
Mm-hmm.
And being the first generation of Filipino Americans, we're both. You know what I'm saying? There's a culture that's American that we value. There's a culture in the Filipino culture that we value.
Exactly.
But we have to find like the mixture of both.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Our identity within chaos.
Exactly, bro. And it's the where Filipino and American overlap.
Right.
I think that's a part. It's a population that's struggled to find an identity, I think, because we've struggled with, am I Filipino or am I American? And so the goal with Kayako is to just be able to pinpoint what that is, because there are people like that, bro.
Right.
You know, there are people like us.
Exactly.
And sometimes we may feel like, I mean, am I the only one that thinks this way?
Right.
You know? But if we're able to bring together that group of people that live this energy, I just feel like we can do great things, bro.
We can. Instead
now
of I can. Now it's we can.
And so we go out from I until we can provide and contribute to the we to us.
Exactly.
You know? Question for you is, when do you think you first felt that energy that I'm talking about, that Kayako energy?
So I feel like the biggest first test I had in my life was honestly when I moved out. Because up until the point of when I was like doing my content creation type stuff, it was always just like, I don't gotta really like spend my money anywhere because I'm still living with my parents' house. You know what I mean? I was paying for my school and stuff, but like that's just the stuff I was dealing with at the time. But moving out at the first time, like when I was 18, technically, I was 18 when I moved out. It was scary, bro, because I was like, I'm not thinking about the bills. I'm not thinking about anything else other than just me getting out of the house. And I feel like the energy that I carried in the moment of saying like, okay, you know what? Like you can do it. Like I had a lot of doubts, I feel like, in the beginning, like, am I going to be making enough money for this? Like, and what was weird was that it was very like monetary issues. You know what I mean? Like I could look back at it now, like, why was I worried so much about that? Like I had it, like, and at the moment I didn't think I had it, but I told myself I could. And now looking back at it, man, I'm like, damn, I did have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was the first test, just because that was me going into a whole not even a different city. It was a whole different state from Chicago to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like I could just like, hey mom, like let me come over real quick and like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There wasn't that sense of, oh, I'm still okay because my parents are only a little bit away, like 30 minutes. It was like, nah, you're on a 3 hour flight. You're out there alone.
Exactly.
And so just having that self belief, I feel like really drove me in. At the time, I was doing something that I knew not too many people had the opportunity to do. And if I was already like financially making myself stable and like taking care of myself, I was like, man, what? Like, I felt it was cool because I was so young doing it. You know what I mean? There's kids nowadays that are doing it even younger, so salute to them. But I'm glad at the time, at least, I was able to recognize that the opportunity I had at the moment wasn't something that everyone got. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that was like, man, let's do it. I got it.
Fire,
I can. You know what I mean?
That's so sick, dude. I think it's like what's hard is to figure out, I guess, how did you look at the opportunity and like really push yourself to do it?
So I really, honestly, I didn't even really see the opportunity until my older brother was like, yo, there's an opportunity in this.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of a backstory. My older brother was doing YouTube before me. His name's Dfield Mark. Quick shout out to my brother. But he's the one who basically told me, like, you're more entertaining than I am. And this is him telling me as like a kuya, as a brother. Like, you need to be doing this and not work your normal job. I used to work at, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to even disrespect him. I used to work in a cafeteria type place. And I remember I would literally be there from like 4 p.m. to midnight every day. And I would get off at school at 2 p.m. So I had that like 1 hour period of me doing like personal time during school and then straight to work. And then I'd still have to do homework. And it was very stressful, but I was doing it just because like I needed to get out of the house. Maybe I needed some money, my own money. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I wanted to be able to spend like or buy something that I spent with my money, not my parents' money or like gift birthday money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like at the time I was very money driven then too. Mm-hmm. And my brother was like, yo, like there's this opportunity I'm doing with YouTube. I'm making videos. You're more entertaining than I am. You're very energetic. Like why not try at least?
Right.
And at the time I was like, man, I don't want to be one of those like nerdy gamers sitting at the computer, spend their whole life there, like literally wasting it away. But what I liked about it was that the community that he had built through that too. Like he had a lot of friends that would hop on Discord, Skype, TeamSpeak at the time, just to hang. Like it was social time, but not social time. You know what I mean? It was weird. And so I was like, man, like this is like he's meeting friends from around the world. He had friends in Australia, Europe. You know what I mean? Like Canada, Florida, Texas, New Jersey, like everywhere. And they were all just like the degens or the rejected that were kind of just like, man, I like video games enough. Let me find things or people who like video games just like I do. So they created the community like that. And when I saw that, I was like, dang, this is like, it's more than just that. So I was like, man, this is an opportunity in itself. Like, ride this wave. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's sick. So that's like, that's what started you on the path.
Yeah, because my brother just basically told me, man, wake up. Like, what are you doing? Like, you have so much potential. And I think that he saw the potential in me as an older brother and just being the energetic one out of the three of us. And so he was like, come on, like, focus, like, lock in.
Yeah, that's something that I think that you guys do a really good job at is that Kayako energy. Like, you guys really have, like, you live that life of, like, you know, you just have confidence.
It's like unreal optimism, I feel like.
Exactly.
But it works out at the end. You know what I mean?
And that's like, that's what we want to try and replicate.
Right.
Like, I feel like, just like anything, we've talked about this in like when we would work out. It's like we can change our bodies.
Right.
We can change our habits. We can change the who we are. And I think there are people that would benefit from learning the habits of what it takes to have the Kayako energy.
Right.
And so with that said, like, how do you think you cultivated that energy and maintained it in yourself?
I think the whole thing with being like a YouTuber was great for like just the idea of this because of course my parents are traditional like Asians. They're like,
Mm,
no, go to school, go be a doctor.
mm,
And of course, I always appreciated that. That was like the Filipino culture, like being like, oh, school equals success.
yeah.
And of course, it does mean that for some people, but I feel like when the opportunity of being like a content creator even came up, and me actually doing it, it's hard not to have that Kayako energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the way I feel like I view life, like of course there's gonna be like it sounds so cliche, like of course there's gonna be like negative things and bad things that happen, but if you can always just like control your mind and change your perspective and view it in a different way, I feel like you're never gonna lose. Like you're
Mhm.
always gonna believe you can. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like something bad happens. Let's say like I spilled this water right here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Something as little as that. Most people would get irritated and like, oh, like they'd throw a fit. But man, just clean it up. It's water.
Exactly.
And like, you know what I'm saying? Little things
Yeah.
like that. I'm very aware of where to put my mental energy towards.
Hmm.
And I feel like when you have like the mentality like that, you can do anything.
That's fire, dude. So you said, um, you're aware.
Very like the awareness of my mental. I'm aware of where my mental energy needs to
Yeah.
go towards.
Right. So that's that. I think that would be like one of those things that you do that you don't realize that is a habit
Right.
that most people don't do.
Mhm.
Right. So like before you react to something, what you're saying, if correct me if I'm wrong, is you're able to assess if that thing is worth your time.
Right.
If it's
Or like
worth
how important is it to me? Like
Right.
do I really need to like create a crazy reaction for this? Or you know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
I just feel like I'm very good at seeing where I feel like I need to put effort in. And of course sometimes I miss some things. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, my bad. But I
Right.
feel like I'm pretty good about it. I'm pretty good about it right now.
That's
The
sick.
mentality I'm in.
And it allows you to kind of guide your energy to like the energy that you want
Right.
in the room, type,
Exactly.
you know, because
Exactly.
you know how to react if you want it to go this way or that way.
Right.
You know?
And I can predict either or. It's like
Exactly.
that's not like weird too. I know you always be telling me like,
Yeah.
yo, your manifestation powers are crazy,
Yeah.
and I'm like, bro, it
For
just
real,
it
dude.
just happens.
And so how do you maintain that now for yourself?
Honest, like daily regimen wise, like keeping that. See, I feel like this is why I asked.
Or like,
that.
you know, just yeah, how do you maintain that just in your lifestyle? It doesn't have to be like a regimen.
I feel like the way it's just filtering your thoughts.
Mm.
I think if you can really control your like emotions through that way, and just because some things do make me angry,
Yeah.
but I know that it's making me angry. So what I like, the way I change my perspective about it is that okay, let me be angry right now because I know in about 5 minutes once I've gotten the anger out, then it's go time. Like let me fix this. Like let me fix whatever's bothering me at the time.
Yeah.
And so I feel like not thinking about it for too long, or because it's okay to like hurt, be sad, be hurt, be angry. Like it's okay to feel your emotions, but I feel like if you can pull yourself back to the reality of the situation and then immediately try to find solutions to fix that, then you're golden.
Right.
And I feel like also because I was asking daily regimen stuff because once you habitually do things in like an order, I feel like then you have like the discipline to choose. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the discipline. If you can be disciplined in your daily activities, you could be disciplined in your mind with how you control
Right. Exactly.
the mental like stimulus
Like
that's
what you're
affecting
doing
you.
at
Yeah,
that time.
right. And so things I do, man, you know, bro, you already know. We go to the gym.
Yeah.
I meditate a lot. I don't know if you like. I don't know if you know that, but I
Yeah,
meditate
I know
at
that.
least once, 30-minute session every day, and just where you're just locked in. And honestly, that's pretty much it, bro.
That's fine.
Just keeping yourself habitually positive.
That's sick. And you do that by meditating and kind of just living that life. That's
Exactly.
awesome. Let's see. So we kind of talked a little bit about the history already of how you started gaming, but
Mhm.
yeah, I just want to pick your brain a little more when
Okay.
it comes to that. Because there are people out there, I think, especially So within the Filipino community, Filipino American community.
Right.
So people our age or people young coming out of high school or people just trying to figure out um what they want to do with their life. There are people that are struggling to, figure out what they want to do with their life.
Right.
And I think it's because we haven't paved the path or even like shown that there are different paths
Mm-hmm.
because we're so used to these secure, you already know works paths, which
Right.
is, go to school, be a nurse, doctor, engineer, lawyer,
Right.
blah blah blah. That's secure. Everybody knows that works.
Right.
Um, but there are other paths that are not so
Apparent.
or people aren't aware of in the Filipino American community,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we don't talk about it a lot. So another one or an example of that is just being an entrepreneur.
Right.
And then branches of that of for example, you route. Some people may go other routes, right? And purpose of one of the what we want to do with the podcast is kind of show people different flavors of life. Hey, who kind of paved the path for you, aside from your brother?
So honestly, I'd have to give another huge shout out to my brother because
Yeah.
I'll tell you where the turning point was. Hopefully this answers your question, but
okay.
let me give you a little bit of just like a little backstory.
I'm trying to also figure out my question as I'm saying it in my head.
Right, right.
You get me? Though.
Yeah, I get you. So, at the time, I literally just graduated from high school, right?
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to community college, so I knew I'd be in like the area I was in. So I knew that I'd have a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when I was in high school, the biggest thing that I liked about high school was that I was always busy. And through choir, like the groups we were doing, we were at school for 12 hours, like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. we were there.
Mm-hmm.
And after high school, I kind of felt like I lost a part of that just because I had so much free time. And so going into the summer after I graduated, I remember my brother offered me for like part of his gift was like, yo, I want to take you to one of these conventions I go to with all of my friends. I just want you to just see the lifestyle that is possible if you were to do what I'm doing. Because I was very because he always told me to like make videos. Like, you're already playing the games, make videos, you're funny. And then I was like, man, like, I can't be doing. I don't want to be a nerd.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be a geek. That was my biggest thing is I thought they were like nerds. Because you think about gamers it was like what, 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
Like gaming wasn't cool yet. And so I accepted his gift, of course. I was like, yeah, I'll go to California with you. It was VidCon 2015. This was like a turning point in my life, bro. I'm gonna tell my kids about this.
Yeah.
VidCon 2015. He's basically gave me like all the money I would need for the trip, like basically spending money. He paid for my plane ticket, where I was staying, everything, covered everything. So shout out to him. When I got there, bro, it was probably the best 5-6 days of my life. Even up to this day, and I'm 25 now. This was 2015. It's 8 years later. Just because in this moment, what I thought I was going into was my brother playing video games in the living room, all connecting up their laptops together on the same Wi-Fi. I thought that it was gonna be that, but through this trip, it just introduced me to so many friends that I'm still friends with today, who are doing great on YouTube.
Yeah,
and it was just a cool community. Everyone was vibey, you know what I mean? And it made me feel like there was a family outside of family, and also at the end of the day, they were all successful.
Right.
They were all of them had thousands of subscribers at this time. I think the smallest one had 30,000, which is still a crazy amount. You know what I mean? 30,000 people subscribe to this dude.
Right.
And I was just like, whoa, how do these people continue to gain success and not let their ego in? You know what I mean? Because once you start getting those numbers, people go crazy. But I feel like that was a huge turning point, just because I literally got thrown in the deep end of it. Because I wasn't meeting these guys as just random people. These were successful YouTubers at the time. So I was like, whoa, it was just so fascinating to me. So as soon as I got home from that trip, I didn't know it at the moment, but now that I look back at it, I was networking. I was just getting close, becoming friends with these people, spending a lot of time picking their heads. What do you do in a video that makes it that much better? So I was grateful in the opportunity that I was put in a situation where there are so many people who are making money off their creativity. And so I wasn't gonna be the one that was like left out. And of course, my brother telling me the whole time, like, you're so creative, you have so much energy, like you need to do this. This was like, yeah, like this is it. Like I gotta at least try.
That's fire.
I gotta at least try.
That's fire, bro. So like, you know, like when you say that and you tell the story of that, it's like it becomes part of the aspiration for what I want Kayako to be.
Right.
I want it to be a something that can provide opportunities for connections like that.
Exactly.
Right? Like where you meet people that are like us.
Exactly.
Filipino, and well, it doesn't even have to be Filipino, just people that have that desire to do something more. And not even just desire, but they have to.
It's the hunger.
Yeah, like you have way too much energy in your body to not.
And you're already there, so might as well like
exactly.
Come on.
And so that's the type of people that we want to attract. And so we can build that network and you can have opportunities to connect the way that you did with that group and branch off to this timeline, which is you now.
Exactly.
You know, imagine some little kid comes to like an event that Kayako hosts, like an open mic night that we're having.
Plug.
So come through, and you know, you meet somebody that's like, yo, like you're doing this, I want to be doing that.
Right.
So, like, you know, and it just changes his timeline.
Right.
And that's what we want to try to cultivate in Kayako. And that's why I thought you would be a perfect first guest, bro.
Of course, I'm blessed and honored.
Because you literally live that. You know, like I'm still on my way, and I'm really trying like my best to say this, because the goal is to first say Kayako.
That's step one.
You know that I can do it. I did it, so that now my glass is full. Now let's fill yours.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So. And you live this. You can say this.
Right.
Kayako. Right?
Of course.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to have
not even just me though. Like once you have my whole biggest thing, dude, is once you have the recognition that you can, like that initial like realization of like, okay, well this like what I have right now is not enough and I can do more. Once you have that initial recognition and you pounce on it, the train's rolling, man. The train is rolling.
I can, bro.
I can, bro. I can.
Kayako. Kayako. Tell me a little bit about your experience in Texas.
Ooh.
What was your life like there? Give me a day, like, give me a week. What's a good week?
Dude, I was going.
So like, dude. One day you start work and then end it with like a good weekend thing that you would do.
The thing, see, I can't even like pinpoint it, dude, because the way I think about my life when I lived in Texas, those were like my college days, because I was what 18 to 24, so technically those are your college years. So I just remember I lived in Austin, so I lived in Dallas for like a year to 2.5 years, and then I moved to Austin for 4 years. And let me tell you, Austin, Texas. Howdy. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep it weird. That's their slogan is keep Austin weird. But I just remember there's so many like people, because I was in the heart of downtown Austin. Like I was on literally Rainey Street, and if you don't know what Rainey Street is, that's where all like the bars are. That's where all like the clubs that are, like they even have like stand-up bars, like things like that, because the culture in Texas is very like, man, just express yourself, especially in Austin. That's why they say keep Austin weird. Like we want that weirdness. But I just loved my time there because there was people that I would meet that I feel like I would never ever think to meet ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like with the situation, I don't even know how to explain it. It was just that cool. Like I'll give you a very specific moment, right? So I used to live in this building, a condo building. I was on the 18th floor, and I was like, there was 34 floors total. So we were like in the middle of the building, right? We were the first few residents that moved into this building because it was brand new. It just got built. And so during like the first few months, the building wasn't fully complete. We can go into like the penthouses and just like check them out, I was friends with the security guard. Shout out him. I'm not gonna say your names. I won't get you in trouble. But he used to take us up there when they were not purchased yet. Like there was still like dust on the floor, like drywall. So they were like bare empty. But then you can imagine, because ours was complete, you could just like copy paste the style, but they got so much room now, right? Like there were some condos on the 34th floor that were 3 floors. So they were the only 35th. Like the elevator didn't go to 35. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they had the stairs that got to 35. But specifically, there was this one time where I was coming in to the elevator, and that was like what I loved, because like you could just meet random people and just say hi to them because you're neighbors. And so I'm coming in from dinner, and this old Asian lady comes in, and you know how like I feel like the way I am as a Filipino, I'll always like say hi to Asian people just because like hey what's up, like how are you doing? I'm just like nicer because they're me.
Yeah.
And so this Asian lady comes in. She was like dressed up super super nice, suit, like she had like a suit and like da da da. And I remember helping her bring her bags in, and then like I was like, oh, like what floor are you on? And she was on 33rd. And my favorite unit in the building was on the 33rd floor. I was like, wait a minute, hold on, let me do some little investigating.
Yeah.
So as soon as she went up there, I go back to the front desk and I'm like, yo, does that lady own my favorite unit? And they're like, yeah, like the really big one, really open one. I was like, yeah, like that's my favorite one. I'm like, who is she? And then I'm like, or they said, you're not gonna believe who you were just in the elevator with. And I'm over here thinking like, whoa, is that a celebrity? Is that someone famous? They're like, search up the name Ty Lee on Google right now. All right, so I pulled out my phone, right? I Googled Ty Lee. I'm gonna name drop her too. Ty Lee. Pops up Forbes. You want to know what the headline says? Top 10 richest self-made women in the entire world. And she was number 4.
That's crazy.
And this was the nicest lady. Like,
right.
Like in retrospect, she's making so much money at that point to where like she didn't even need to look at me. But I was talking to her. We had a nice conversation. I like asked her what floor she was on. I was like, oh, have a nice day. Super, super nice. This girl was worth like $4 billion, bro.
That's crazy.
And she was so nice.
What's her name?
Ty Lee. It literally sounds like
this one?
Yeah. Yeah. Was my neighbor. She was my neighbor.
Oh wait, I can just edit it.
Yeah. This dude. She was my neighbor, bro.
That's sick, bro.
So like that's just like a great like what other situation?
Right.
And stuff like that happened all the time. Like,
tell me why though. Tell me why. This was entirely in my head, dude.
Oh gosh.
You watched Avatar, right?
Yeah.
I'm like,
no, okay, I'll tell. Like, as soon as I said it, this dude's tripping, though, bro.
I'm like, bro, Ty Lee, the baddie,
bro. Hey, he said, "Kaya ko yan, kaya ko yan." Hey. But like, no, dude. What's crazy is that I feel like I'm a master networker. I just like meeting people and just picking their heads.
You're so good at it, bro.
Like I just like talking to people.
It's so natural to you.
And me being in Austin put me in that situation.
And like it, I mean, it's what's it called? It's so natural that, like you said earlier, when you met those group of people, you were like, oh, I didn't even realize, but I was networking.
Right.
That is networking, but making friends.
Exactly.
Right, and you're just so good at that, and so you naturally
just get into it. It's just natural. It's just a rhythm. Like, of course, it sounds shallow, but it's not like I don't care. Like, I'm genuinely curious about your thoughts and like your perspective. Because then me learning yours helps me take a real step back.
Right.
Because this is not just the only view I have. There's other views to what is happening.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Dude. Exactly. That's dope, man. So, what's the future looking like for you?
So, right now it's actually interesting. So, I moved back to Chicago initially last summer, because my mom was having surgery on her knee and she needed someone basically to take care of her. And I was also going through like a heartbreak at the time, and I knew that like the city at the time was just giving me a lot of like bad, not bad memories, but just memories that I knew that I needed to forget. And so it was a very good time because A, like my mom's having surgery, go help her, and B, like you need to get out of your city, like the city, your situation, not even the
Yeah.
city, just like where the setting I was in, I needed to get out of it. So when I moved back, I decided since I have so much free time because I could still do my stuff on YouTube, I could still like do my managerial things like video editing stuff, things like that. I could still do that while also filling up my other time just because I was home now. So I'm actually back in school right now for nursing. Shout out to all the Filipinos because
Let's
I'm
go.
Filipino.
Let's go.
So I'm doing that in the meantime right now, just seeing where things go with that and seeing if because the opportunity's there. Like I'm already home,
Right.
might as well do something with it. So
Exactly.
I'm doing that, also doing the YouTube stuff, and things are looking good.
So that's one of the things that I also want to talk about is how we balance
Mm.
the security of like being Filipino, like that culture of
Right.
being secure, being sure, and um, the freedom and expression and the possibilities of being American.
Right.
So like, for example, right now you're going to school to be a nurse, which is a traditional Filipino thing.
Right.
But how are you using that to balance the other side of the equation of, you know, that American dream that you have?
Right. So I think my biggest thing is that if you're disciplined and you have like good time management, then I feel like you can never fail. Because I feel like I'm good about setting a certain amount of time on what I need to do for school. Like right now, I'm just doing school, so I know how to like. Okay, so from this time to this time, I can't be distracted while I'm doing school.
Right.
Because I keep it very separate in my head right now. Because that's how I view it mentally.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing this, I have to be locked in there. The second like I have like a small like glimpse or like a small like man, I'm not really like I'm bored, like I'm tired of doing this, I'll switch to the other thing. Then I'll work to my YouTube stuff.
Okay.
So I'll literally it's weird. So there'll be times where I have video edit to do while also a test due, and I'll do both at the same time.
Insane.
At the same because I'm very ADHD like that. Like my
Yeah.
brain needs to be constantly like I guess working.
Yeah.
So
Stimulated.
yeah, exactly. So I'd be literally sitting here for 15 minutes editing what I can in 15 minutes. As soon as that's done, I'll go back to the test and answer a few questions. Once I get tired of that, all right, let me go back in video edit real quick, and then that's why it's a very Filipino thing, especially with my mom. She'll be like, "Oh, do this now," and if you don't do it right then and there,
Yeah.
like then they get snappy, they get mad.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is, I always tell my mom now, like this is how we avoid quarrel now, where I'll be like, "Mom, it'll get done." Like before I sleep, before I put my head on the bed, it'll be done.
Yeah.
So just don't worry about it. And I said, don't waste your energy because I'm not gonna do it right now.
Right.
But it'll get done because
Yeah.
I feel like she has a mentality where she's like, no, now, like
Yeah.
when I say it, I want it done now.
Yeah.
But if you want it done now, then you could do it yourself.
Right.
No disrespect to that, but
Right.
if it really bothered you to that point, you would do it yourself.
Mhm.
But if you're putting that onto me, let me do it when I want to do it. But it will get done.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because it goes back to that point of like
The balance.
and that you have to how your body works, how your attention
The energy,
works.
right? The energy at the
how
time.
to where to take that energy.
Where to focus.
Exactly.
Right.
And so in your head you're like, okay, it will get done, but I have to follow the movements of like the patterns
My vibes, right?
The patterns of my my energy, and then once I catch the wave,
then it'll be done.
It'll be done.
Exactly.
I get exactly what you mean.
So I'm the same way with like that's how I kind of approach school in my work or like the video stuff. I know it'll get done. I just gotta start the engine.
Right, exactly.
Gotta get the day rolling.
So yeah, going back to balance, right? Because I think that's one of the benefits of being Filipino is our parents fought to come here, man.
Right.
So like they were top of the food chain people, and they were able to come here and provide a better life for us, but we can't. And that foundation that was, that was provided for us by them, um, is there. We have to respect it.
Yeah.
We have to do something.
It's your roots.
Exactly, and they can't just you can't just abandon it. And so that's kind of the way I'm trying to look at it, and the way I'm trying to question or bring out the question so that we can get different answers from people.
Right.
Is like how am I gonna respect the foundation given to me by not just my parents but generations before that,
right.
Of
the culture,
like poverty, and then coming up and coming up and coming up until the next generation, till we're able to come here. How am I gonna respect that while still taking the risk of
reaching for higher?
Yes, and then there is a risk, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, give it long enough time period, it's actually a low risk because it will happen if you're just consistent. But it's still that, it's still scary.
Yeah, the uncertainty.
Especially for our parents that want to provide guidance and safety.
Exactly.
But it's, so like that's what I wanted to ask you is like how did your parents react when
when I was trying to move and do all this?
Move out there,
dude. So it's actually funny.
Yeah.
So when I moved out September of 2017, September 7th to be exactly, and initially I moved out with my older brother.
Yeah.
So there was still that sense of like, oh, I'm staying with family still.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I was also going to school. So at the time it was the summer, so I still had technically signed up for fall classes, but they were just online. So I told my parents, let me try this at least. I had a conversation with my dad. I was like, let me try this whole YouTube thing. If it doesn't work out, of course, I know you guys are there, but this is what, like, I showed them. This is what I'm making right now. This is like my plan. I'm still gonna be doing school, and I'm still gonna be like, I just want to try it. Like, that's what I told my dad. I just want to try it. And at first, he was down immediately. My mom was like, "Oh, no way! Like, nah, you're only 18. Your brother's turning what? He's 22 now. Like, he has so many years on you. Let him move out. Da da da."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Ma," I was like, "Ma, come on, like,
yeah,
come on, like, come on." And so she was very hesitant, even up to the day I literally walked into the car to drive off.
Yeah.
She was very hesitant. But I always told her that, like, I'll keep, like, because her biggest fear was that we were just going to disconnect, go off, and then not talk to her. But I made it very clear to respect the foundation. I called her every day. Like, literally, if I missed a day, it was the first thing the next morning. Like, I was still very close with her. And before I even moved out, me and my mom would always fight about stupid things. And it took me moving out to appreciate the good things. Because I feel like at the time, like, there's so many little things that irritated me about the relationship we had that kind of built up this, like, it wasn't like a full negative mindset, but it was just like, oh man, like, she's asking me to do this. Like, that me recognizing now, like, why would I so mad at that? And so since I moved out, it was only good things that when I would call her. Oh, like, so mom, what's up? Like, of course she'd complain about little things, but we were never beefing, me and her personally, because she misses me, I miss her. And so I feel like it taught me, or them they just didn't want to say goodbye, bro. That's how Filipinos are. They just don't want to say goodbye. But I felt like I was secure enough with what the money I was making at the time, and my brother also being there was a good thing. It lined up for me not too well for me not to take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there was like, I'm willing to risk it to get that biscuit. You know what I mean?
You just gotta risk it to get the biscuit, bro.
Right.
That's sick, bro.
And also too, like, if it didn't work out, I knew I had a backup plan. Like, I was still doing school. Yes. I was like, I was still with my brother. If I really needed help, like, like, help me out. So I knew I had, like, I felt like at the moment it was just me, but it really wasn't just me.
See, that's a superpower that we have is like, as Filipino Americans, like I said, I keep going back to this theme.
Right.
It's like having the discipline to look at a situation pragmatically and be like realistic. But then also now we've integrated that. Okay, but
Yeah,
this could happen.
yeah.
You know, like we were able to, like really assess the situation, be real, but then also look at the possibilities and look
Of
at
it
the
being better.
opportunities and being, like you said, the um optimistic or what is it? Unreal optimism.
Yeah.
Unreal optimism.
Right.
So, like, that's one of the things that I see that we, I mean, in my life, I've balanced is like, okay, here's actually a situation, but
come
what
on.
if?
Right, yeah.
What if? And I already got this.
Yeah.
So, like, I know it can happen.
Might as well try it.
Right.
Might as well.
Exactly. But sweet dude, did you wanna add anything aside from shouting out your YouTube channel?
Hey,
Is
no,
there
bro.
any
You already know.
projects or
Come on,
anything that
man.
you go ahead?
Hey, just know that my boy Carlos on the come up.
We're on
Kaya
the come up,
natin
bro.
to, okay? Kaibigan. Hey, I'm gonna fuck that. Kaya natin to.
Come on.
Come on. Hey, come on. That's all love.
Let's go, bro.
Hey, to the next.
All right, my boy. Thank you for joining me
Love.
on the first episode. Nobody else I would have loved to have on as my first than you, bro.
You
took my you popped
I
my
popped you?
you popped my cherries, bro.
Nah, but love, Carlo. You already know I always got you.
Boy.
You're always at the dinner table with me.
For sure, right back at you, my
Love,
dude.
love.
All right, kaya natin to, like you said.
Kaya
But
ko.
it starts with
Ikaw.
kaya ko. Let's do it.
Peace.